I'm Eryn Rogers. I am a product of private school Atlanta. Grew up in affluent Atlanta. I think with everything going on in the world, I was struggling to find the words to say, even though I do words for a living. And then I kept reading. I kept reading my friends' experiences growing up in the same communities I grew up, in the same schools I went to, my friends went to. And I realized that my friends who look like me, we rarely talked about these experiences, but they were so clearly shared experiences. I figured with the nudging of a good childhood friend to kind of document, put the faces to the stories of all of these microaggressions or outright aggressions that we face growing up in these environments.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
For a lot of us, we've stayed silent because we're afraid to upset the status quo. Pardon my language, but forget the status quo. F the status quo these days.
Can you just talk about maybe your first or loudest instance of racism that you remember?
One time specifically, I was thinking of some of the things that have happened, and I remember specifically in homeroom, we were talking about football, at our school, and one comment was made that, hey, you got to admit, our coach does a good job of getting a lot of white preppy kids to work hard and be athletic. That's what one person said. And then another person said, well, you can get black people to work hard if you whip them enough.
If you're looking for the loudest, I think it was probably actually like my senior year of high school. I was in AP statistics because I took pretty much all AP classes throughout high school. And we were in the midst of applying to colleges and things like that. And a girl that was in my class with me made a comment that it was going to be so easy for me to get into school because I'm a smart black person and there just wasn't that many of me.
I remember in class at some point they actually had us draw the flag on a piece of paper and I had to bring it home. And my mom that was one of the points where she was like, okay, we got to do something. They're over here drawing Confederate flags in class. So I was getting dressed for PE class, putting on my sweats and things like that. And then, a group of white boys were over there, looking at me in my corner and stuff like that. And they were getting dressed and like they had the big Confederate flag on the back of their shirt. So they'll come all the way over to my corner where I am and start waving the back of their shirt in my face.
The major shift when we got closer to the high school years when it came to dating and boys, with dances, having people at the dances ask you to dance. No guy really asked me to dance. Or when it would come time for a dance, it's like, oh, you should ask so-and-so. Like, why? Just because he's black? So it's things like that. And in the dating, maybe seeing someone you like, but it's like, oh, they would never like me. Or you just feel kind of like overlooked. Your friends have these crushes and people give them attention and you're just kind of, you're only appropriate or suitable for the 4 other black people in your grade.
And with me, they were like, we will let him in, but, he's probably going to need like extra time, like in the learning lab, to help him out, to, maybe because we're not sure if like he can keep up, those kind of comments being made to my parents.
I remember we had a white girl on our team who had hair like mine, like how it is now. It's very kinky, but she identified as white. So I believe, the girl that I was actually cool with on my team, she goes, well, what is Nicole gonna do with her N-word hair? And she said that in front of me. And I had to be 16 at the time. I don't know, I didn't know what to do. I was just so stunned that she said this. And she goes, but I didn't mean it like that. And she looked at me and said, I didn't mean it like that.
All these kids are laughing, things like that. Teacher came in and said something, and then so all of us were just continuing our conversation. So she singled out me and 2 of my friends, said that we were laughing at her, and took us to the principal.
we're having a conversation about future children and stuff like that. And he says at one point in time, he goes, yeah, I wouldn't kill, he goes, yeah, I wouldn't kill a white baby over a black baby because they have career opportunities in the future. And I sat there and I said for a second, like, did I really just hear what just came out of this kid's mouth? I came back from overseas and people go, what was the best thing about living overseas? And I said to them, for the first time in my life, I'm not black in America. I was just an American.
We were talking, I think playing with a pencil or something, not being super disruptive, but somehow that situation blew up to the teacher. I was yanked out of class. My friend was told that I should stop being a bad influence on her. Both of us were talking, by the way. And she pulled me, like physically pulled a 9-year-old child into the bathroom, got in my face, and told me behavior like that is why a little black girl like myself will never amount to anything. I was 9.
How is that kind of behavior tolerated? How? I mean, even with our class, you know, us having a white student tell a white boy tell a white girl that if she keeps hanging around us like all the monkeys that she's going to get AIDS. How is that tolerate? Like, we didn't tolerate that. But as the administration, how do you tolerate that? You know, like, what are you going to do? I mean, that student still graduated. And what are we supposed to do? You know, like, we need protection too.